Take that!
Hello folks, hope you have been doing well. Today we are back with another video about probably a less spoken of villain in the Batman universe, Lord Deathman. Titled A Macabre Menace, this guy is as cunning as can be. He is a kinda well-known gangster in Gotham City who has encountered Batman several times and has even managed to fool him. Created by Robert Kanigher and Sheldon Moldoff, Lord Deathman is certainly a very nuanced character with a set of extraordinary skills that have helped him cheat death several times. The character of Lord Deathman originally appeared in Batman number 180. However, the cult popularization of the character began after he appeared in Batmanga, The Secret History of Batman in Japan. Lord Deathman also makes numerous appearances in other issues of Batman, Robin, Harley Quinn, Talon, as well as the Weekly Shonen King. As you can probably guess, the intersection of American comics with the Japanese staple of manga certainly tickled the minds of many fans. Let's get into exploring the origins of Lord Deathman and see just where he ranks when it comes to Gotham's villains. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Who is Lord Deathman? Lord Deathman makes his first ominous appearance in the Batman universe during the time when Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson appear to be entertaining a number of guests, while a gem dealer shows them his rare collection of precious jewels. Bruce Wayne is very clearly mentioned to be a playboy who is always surrounded by pretty women. The gem dealer thus says he'd like to advertise his jewels on the women themselves, and Bruce Wayne, being in a jovial mood, agrees to the same. Right then, a figure draped in what appears to be a skeleton makes a sudden appearance and attempts to steal the jewels away. Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson both attempt to stop him, but his henchmen appear with guns and threaten to kill the people in the gathering, thus being able to make a hasty escape. However, Batman and Robin then chase them down the building. The guard at the entrance tries to intercept the thieves but gets shot at. Luckily, he buys Batman and Robin some time, who jump down to the ground and attack Deathman and his henchmen. They initially have a tough time fighting the ruffians, but eventually manage to wear them down. While Robin makes sure the henchmen don't escape, Batman goes after Deathman, who, surprisingly, expresses no nervousness at being captured. In fact, he taunts Batman by saying that he is above the laws created by human beings and can never be put to death or imprisoned. His chilling laughter somehow disorients Batman for a few seconds, and he wonders why someone would be so confident in their ability to escape from the long hand of the law. Nevertheless, Batman shakes these thoughts and turns Deathman and his henchmen over to the authorities. In the courtroom where Deathman's trial takes place, he is seen laughing and being in an overall cheerful mood, despite it literally being his death row trial. Given the atrocious nature of his actions, he is given the death penalty by the judge. However, this does not deter him, as he continues to proclaim that he is invincible and immortal. Just then, he suddenly drops to the ground, apparently dead. It raises quite an uproar in the courtroom, but he is truly ruled to be dead, and a burial is announced for him. Batman and Robin are the only people to attend the burial, aside from the gravedigger. Even when the casket is being lowered into the grave, Batman feels a sense of apprehension and gets the feeling that something is not right. That night, he also has a nightmare where Deathman provokes him to try to put a dead man like him on trial. If a villain is giving Batman nightmares, he must certainly be something else. Robin arrives to wake Batman up, and they both decide that they need a change in scenery to get over the recent events, so they travel to Jamaica. Misfortune soon strikes, as Robin and Batman get wind of the fact that Deathman has mysteriously risen from the dead and is wreaking havoc in Bay City. They immediately leave to hunt him down, all the while wondering how the skeleton-clad guy could have made an escape. The duo chases him and his henchmen in the Batcopter and ends up in a junkyard after a fierce chase. Once again, Robin takes down the henchmen while Batman deals with Deathman. The masked villain once again taunts Batman, saying that he cannot possibly put a dead man to justice and that he can escape from within Batman's hold like smoke. And once again, Deathman just drops to the ground, seemingly dying a second time. Another burial is held and Deathman is buried, but Batman is still plagued by nightmares and uneasy second thoughts about the villain. During one of his parties, an acquaintance comes up with the entertaining idea of burying a man alive. Batman is stunned to see the buried man wake up unaffected and asks him how this could be possible. The man then says that a certain yogic ability can grant people a death-like stupor, from which they can awaken. Batman joins the dots and realizes that Deathman probably knows about the yogic ability, and that's how he was able to escape death, not once, but twice. As they reach Deathman's grave, Batman and Robin are shocked to see the grave empty, with just a note addressed to Batman from Deathman, taunting him again. Batman clashes with Deathman a third time, and this time the villain gets the upper hand when he shoots Batman. A weakened and delirious Batman is almost overpowered when lightning strikes Deathman, killing him for what appears to be real. It is also mentioned in the comics that Lord Deathman shared a rather unhealthy obsession with Harley Quinn and was constantly doing things in an attempt to capture her attention. He had built a secret shrine dedicated to her inside a video game, and when one of his henchmen tried to play the game, Lord Deathman tore his hand off. When Harley Quinn was in need of cash, the villain also funded a reward for his own capture in an attempt to have the villainous capture him. However, Harley Quinn knew his real identity, which made him drop dead to the ground, following which Harley Quinn cut out his heart and blended it into a Bloody Mary. Even this did not make Lord Deathman stay dead for long. Harley Quinn, in fact, later turned him into what was described as charred meat immersed in volcanic lava. And you guessed it, Lord Deathman made a successful return to life to keep wooing Harley Quinn. Guess what the heart wants? Lord Deathman comes to Japan. Have you mentioned how, until now, we have referred to Lord Deathman as simply Deathman? Well, this is because when he fought Batman and Robin for the first time, he simply called himself Deathman. A few years later, he seemingly rose from the dead again, and this time, under the name of Lord Deathman, he traveled to Japan to annihilate all the heroes in the country and rule over it all by himself. Lord Deathman's first target is the original Mr. Unknown, who unfortunately dies at his hands. The body double of Mr. Unknown, Jiro Osamu, manages to see the crime but is chased by Lord Deathman's henchmen. The masked villain then kidnaps Jiro's girlfriend, but is shot numerous times by Jiro, leading him to fall from a building. Batman and Catwoman appear at the scene on time, and Batman tells Jiro that Lord Deathman is not the same Deathman he once knew. The new Lord Deathman seems to have received some upgrades from the original, which involved not just being able to come back from the dead, but also mastering regenerative healing. While it is not explicitly mentioned, it is hinted that Lord Deathman did this by replicating the qualities of the Lazarus Pit within his body. The villain in question then wakes up in the middle of his autopsy at a hospital and kills many innocent people there. The next target of Lord Deathman is Aquazon from the super young team. However, before he can get to Aquazon, he is intercepted and defeated for good by Batman, Cap, and Jiro, who is dressed as Mr. Unknown. However, Batman knows that Lord Deathman cannot die, no matter what steps are taken. Therefore, Batman launches him into space in a deep space containment capsule, so he cannot harm people anymore. He was, however, freed by Ra's al Ghul, who brought him to the Leviathan facility in Pakistan and exsanguinated him to produce the Shelley form. Ra's needed Lord Deathman's Lazarus blood to bring Talia and Damian back to life, but when he realized that Lord Deathman's blood carried insanity-inducing agents, the villain was discarded by Ra's. Big mistake, letting Lord Deathman out. Lord Deathman is not one to simply take what is meted out to him, and it is revealed that he somehow managed to release himself at the Leviathan orbital headquarters. As always, he continued to fight those who fight crime, now under the service of Leviathan. His aim was to kill the larger Batman Incorporated agents, who were being recruited from all over the world, and he did so by luring them in with elaborate plots. While the jury is still out on whether Lord Deathman is actually dead, his seemingly last act was to blow up the orbital headquarters when it was breached by the outsiders. Animated version of Deathman. Lord Deathman makes an appearance in Batmite presents Batman's Strangest Cases, from Batman Brave and the Bold. In most ways, the story is very similar to the original trajectory of Lord Deathman. The only difference is when they show Lord Deathman parachuting to safety after a failure of the power lines. He also makes an appearance in Batman 66, where he joins forces with Penguin to bring chrysanthemum seeds to Japan. Batman and Batgirl travel to Japan to stop Lord Deathman, who cleverly keeps tricking them right from the very beginning. At first, he takes on the appearance of an old man and brings Batman and Batgirl down a garden, leaving an army of ninjas to attack them. He then seemingly vanishes up in smoke and traps Batman and Batgirl in a cavern. He then disguises himself as Batgirl and tricks Batman again. But after a while, he seemingly falls to his death into the water below. Following this, Batman and Batgirl visit his grave and then leave for Gotham City from Japan. Right after they leave, the maniacal laugh of Lord Deathman starts echoing, which leaves the readers realizing that he is not dead. Well, he is Deathman after all. Lord Deathman, cheating death with deadly trick. The main and quite fascinating ability of Lord Deathman is to basically come back from the dead. While it is not clearly mentioned whether he does this by not dying in the first place, it is true that the situations he comes back from would prove extremely fatal for any person, such as being hit by lightning, or being shot at, or being thrown into the vacuum of space. Lord Deathman achieves this in two different ways. Firstly, he is adept at yogic abilities, which allow him to mimic being dead by slowing his heart rate. Second, he has a biological ability since his blood can be used to create the substance found in Lazarus pits. This made him develop genuine regeneration techniques, instead of having to solely rely on tricks. These abilities grant him to return from the dead, no matter which situation he died in. Apart from these, Lord Deathman has considerable strength and stamina, which well surpass those of a normal person. This is seen during his fights with Talon, where he is shot with tranquilizer darts and severely wounded, but still keeps fighting with the same vigor. He is also very proficient in hand-to-hand combat, which is seen when he kills a room full of scientists without much problem. It has also been mentioned that Lord Deathman does not need any sleep, and his death skeleton costume is grafted onto his skin, which implies that he feels no pain. Lastly, Lord Deathman is proficient in creating death traps, which also indicates that he is adept at understanding mechanics. We could also say he has a pretty sharp memory, since he is revealed to be a magnanimous Pokemon fan who has memorized the names of every Pokemon as well as their evolved form. Marvelous. That was all about the mysterious undead villain, Lord Deathman. What do you think? Where does he stand when it comes to the more well-known villains of the Batman universe? I personally think that while the whole evading, cheating, or coming back from death thing is pretty cool, Lord Deathman kind of falls short when it comes to being on par with Penguin, Bane, or Joker. After all, very little is known about the early life of Lord Deathman and how he became what he is. His abilities are certainly not to be trifled with, since he pretty much makes a return from the dead in every issue he appears in. He even survived the vacuum of space. That's some serious healing ability. The Batman universe has a very rich variety of villains with never thought of skills and ability, and Lord Deathman certainly manages to make a mark. Till then, folks, see you in the next video. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good and be safe. Thanks, everyone.